that thing isn't dead yet. It's still writhing in the background when she's fighting the third one.
Yes, you see it.
And it's just in pain, stabbed to death. She didn't even give it the dignity of cutting its head off.
No, she didn't murder it. She let it suffer there for a minute because it's my kitchen, damn it.
Oh,
That's
man.
right.
And then she grabs the roach spray, blasts another one in the face, which is industrious thinking. So she's not letting terror take over her. She is aware of her surroundings, and she puts it in the microwave. And it's one of my favorite all-time kills. I mean, it's beautiful, isn't it, when it blows up in that microwave?
Man, that thing is in there for a while. It's looking left, it's looking right, and then it snarls a little bit, and then splash. It was gross, dude. I wasn't even 10 years old, I think, when I saw this movie, man. And it was insane to see. And yes, the whole time, that thing is still struggling to breathe behind her with just holes in it. 3 of them, as you've gone to mention. So she shows the initial, but not really. The fear doesn't come until the Christmas tree just gets on top of her.
Stripe.
Yeah.
And that establishes him as a badass.
Well, Stripe hangs out in the background, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
There's 5 of them, right? Mm-hmm. She takes out 3 in the kitchen, okay? And then the one gets introduced to us by, it's not Christmas lights after all, actually. It's the eyes of a creature inside the tree. And then it just launches itself on her. And so now her incredible New York City street fighting knife skills, we can't use those anymore because the tree is now defending the gremlin, as well as just the fact that the gremlin's a beast and a half. And Stripe is over in the corner, not like college football coach Lou Holtz, just calling plays, man, and just organizing terror.
And it's a good way to do it, though, because she took those 3 out in open combat, but then the tree jumps her, and she's kind of defenseless. And then I like that Billy comes in. And listen, Pelter took care of herself. She wasn't dead yet. She was doing a good job. But he comes in with the sword that had been set up 18 times already. You know, it falls off the thing. I mean, that's like a great Chekhov sword.
That's right, Chekhov sword.
and he decapitates a gremlin, and its head flies into the fireplace. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Mm-hmm.
So these things die hard, man.
This family, aside from the dad, they're pretty hardcore, man. Like, they'll go at these things. They go to battle. And then Stripe cries. He wipes his face with the curtains.
Well, actually, he's
he crying?
Cold. He's sneezing.
He's sneezing. Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's just been born. It's kind of cold. He's deciding, am I staying in or am I going out? And he needs to reproduce, man. You get all the extra information from the George Geip rest in peace novelization, Gremlins, the book. And let me tell you, man, he gives you just all the backstory on Gizmo, on Stripe, just the amazing things that he says. These creatures, as they have these long conversations, because where do you think the gremlins come from, Mark?
Well, I did some research, and I found out that Mogwai means demon, and traditionally reproduce during the rainy seasons. And Mogwai means in Cantonese, demon or evil spirit. And then they reproduce during the rainy seasons, and they're made to cause peace, right, around the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the thing?
The one that I got, you see, the novelization that I got from George, R.I.P., is that they were created by Mogturman, you see? And Mogturman created them to live in peace and harmony, but he realized that unlimited reproduction, not so good. So there had to be a way to easily get rid of them. And the scenes that the Mogwai talk to each other, I'm not trying to be like my parents and call every video game Nintendo. First they're Mogwai, then they're Gremlins. Okay.
And if we mess it up, you know what we mean.
That's right. So, yeah. The galactic powers ordered the Mogwai sent to every inhabitable planet in the universe. Their purpose to inspire alien beings with a peaceful spirit and intelligence, to instruct them the ways of living without violence and possible extinction. Among the planets selected for early Mogwai population were Kelm 6 in the Porous City range, Clinth A of the Beehive Pollux, and the third satellite of Minor Sun, number 67672, a small but fertile body called Earth by its inhabitants. Mogturman.
Wow.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm.
That's a terrible idea. That reminds me of Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy 2, planting that little seed on every planet so that he can be everywhere at once and not lose his power.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, I love the way these things communicate. And in the commentary, they had oh gosh, I have his name, the guy who did the name. Oh man, where's it at? The guy who did the name for Gizmo, Howie Mandel.
Howie Mandel did the voice of Gizmo, and Frank Welker, aka the voice of Megatron, did the voice of Stripe.
It's amazing. And they had Howie do German. They had him do Mandarin. They had him do Portuguese. So they had him do Gizmo's voice in a bunch of different languages. So nice. That this movie with inflation just domestically made $426 million.
It was not expected to be so successful. Like, you knew that Spielberg was behind it. The special effects, for what it's worth, still hold up. But there's no way that they thought this movie was going to make nine figures. No way.
And it did. And it turned out to be just a blockbuster because, it's world building. It's fun. Yeah. It's bonkers. It's weird. You introduce a new creature. You introduce a new life form. You have weird story. You know what? I think some of the biggest movies that hit like this just are weird. So you have the story about her father. You have the kitchen fight, the decapitations. And you know what else I love too is Spielberg. The studio wanted that line out, the Christmas Story monologue out, and he went up to Joe Dante and said, "Hey Joe, I don't think this should be in there. Do you?" And Joe's like, "Listen, man, I've done a lot of stuff for the studio. I've worked with you. I want this line. I want this movie to have it." And Spielberg goes, "Okay, it's on you."
Hey, man, every once in a while, Spielberg gets it wrong. It would have been bad to take that out. But in our previous podcast, The Galaxy Quest, remember he wanted Missy Pyle to have a bigger role. And she definitely enhanced that movie.
Oh, yeah, she was hilarious. Oh, that movie's perfect. Yeah. That movie's perfect.
Yeah. And so, yeah, man, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so, and also, too, this movie, I really think if you're interested in learning about film, they shot this movie for about 2 months, and then they stopped. They filmed all the principals, like Zach Galligan, Phoebe Cates, all the actors. And then they did another 3 months with just the Gremlin. And so there's scenes where Gizmo's head, it's 2 foot big, the close-ups. They have scenes where the book that he's sitting on are huge. And so they look like little books, but they're all built large to get better shots. So this movie took about 6 months of no sleep, of some of the best people in the business just puppeteering these little murderous gremlins who are getting decapitated. Yeah. So if you're a studio head, Norbert, and you go to set on the day where a woman is blowing up gremlins, and you're hearing this story, and you're going, what did we put our money in? And I have a question for you. Do you think in the beginning, they used the backlot of Back to the Future and those different movies. It's a very Wonderful Life type movie in the beginning. Very traditional. It's filmed traditionally. But then it goes bonkers. Do you think they did that on purpose to sort of lull people into thinking, oh, hey, this is going to be nice? Like Psycho with Hitchcock. He filmed it in black and white. And then when it went crazy, people went, what?
No, I got you.
Do you think they did that?
This is the same reason why I am a huge fan of From Dusk Till Dawn. Because these movies start off one way. And by the end of this movie, okay, Billy's got an arrow in his arm, a cut on his forehead. He's had a concussion, at least. He's almost been cut in half by a chainsaw, blown up and murdered. All right. And From Dusk Till Dawn starts off, oh, it's a bank robbery movie. No big deal. Oh, wait a minute. There are vampires now. What the hell's going on? And you're not ready for it. So there's no internet in 84, of course. So word of mouth gets around. Dude, this movie is out of control. You got to see Gremlins because it starts off so cute and it's wonderful. And the next thing you know, people have been murdered. And the movie is not ambiguous about it either. Futterman and his wife are supposed to die. They're supposed to be dead. Okay. Gerald, he dies too. They cut that out of the movie. Gerald is supposed to be dead in the bank. They're supposed to find him when, they're taking that little break in between time and Phoebe Cates is giving her story about her dad. So Gerald's supposed to be dead. The Futtermans are supposed to be dead. They bring him back for part 2 because Futterman's an awesome character and his wife is adorable. But
Kentucky Crowler, what's the name of his thing? Kentucky. Oh man, I got the note. Sorry, I'll cut you out there.
Kentucky Harvester.
Yeah, Kentucky Harvester. Kentucky Harvester.
Yeah, Kentucky Harvester. Yeah. It built in America, you know. Hey, you got a magnet. You should have got a Zenith. And there is this disturbing trend because it is 84 and the movies of that time were just, hey, the Japanese are taking over the car market. The Japanese are taking over the electronics market. Hyundai is just coming out, Toyota, and there is an undercurrent in a lot of the Hollywood movies. Hey, buy American, stop buying foreign stuff. And so he represents that. But then, of course, he gets to tie it in with, so Gremlins,
There's something on the wing.
Yes.
Something. Oh, man. Gets Shatner in there.
Yeah, that's right. And according to the novelization, the 1983 Columbia Space Shuttle had a gremlin on board,
Wow.
This is what happens. Yeah.
I love that now. So now whenever I watch... Dante also worked on Twilight Zone, the movie with Spielberg, or the original show, Rod Sterling episode with them. I mean, when he's talking about gremlins, you see it. And you're like, were there gremlins? There could have been gremlins. I mean, it's totally fictional, but it's tied together in different universes. So it could happen. I guess it could happen.
It is 100%. Okay, so here's the question for you, Hoffmeyer. How long does it take for you to accidentally douse your Mogwai in water? Because it seemed like it took Billy maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah. He brought... Oh, so you know what's funny? Corey, he was supposed to be younger in the movie, Billy Peltzer. Yeah. But that's why Corey Feldman's in it, because they didn't change the age of Corey Feldman's character. They just kept he's hanging out with this young kid. So it's supposed to be two young kids hanging out together and dealing with this, as opposed to Billy hanging out with him. How long would it take? Okay, I get a gremlin. No water can get on him.
Yeah, I mean, you get the Mogwai. The father explicitly tells you, don't give it water. He doesn't tell you it causes him to reproduce, but he's just like, no water.
Now, they can drink. Okay, we saw the gremlins drinking beer, and they weren't turning. Only Stripe turned when he did a cannonball into the pool. So I just can't get any water on this guy.
That's it. And on the dirt.
It seems to be maybe sweat. It seems to be maybe... I'd be careful.
Okay, now...
3 days.
Okay, me, as you can see, I have these all over my house. These are 2-liter bottles of water, and I drink 1.5 to 2 of those a day. So my daddy gives me, hey, Norbert, here's this thing called a Mogwai. Don't get him wet. Don't feed him after midnight. No bright lights. As you can see, I've already murdered him. My windows are always open. Mm-hmm. I also play video games on a 42-inch screen TV. That's a bright light. Wow. I think I killed this thing by the end of the first week, just by accident.
Because when you wash dishes, right, you'll have some water. Or if you're drinking from a cup with some ice in it, you could spill some water. If you accidentally bonk your coffee over when it's near you.
Yeah.
I would put him So in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Groot gets a Ravager suit made by the tailor. I would put Gizmo in some waders. So he's just walking around in some adorable little waders all the time. And if he's not happy, I'll just be like, listen, I know you understand me. You are a higher intellect. I gotta tell you, I don't want to get you wet. And so I made you this mini wader. Mm-hmm. Now you can have it off when I'm walking around the house, but when I'm asleep, you can take it off. But just if you're around me, wear this wader. That's a fair trade.
Please, in the name of Mogturman, keep yourself dry, my young Mogwai friend. I want you to be as dry and non-moist as possible. It's for all of our benefits to keep you non-moist. I'm gonna mop the floor. Oops, he falls on the mop floor. Bang. What the... Jeez.
Yeah.
I got a house full of these things now.
I mean, I would love to have Gizmo as a... having Gizmo as a pet's tough because it's not a pet.
Right.
Gizmo is smarter than we are. I mean, the kid...
This is the thing.
It wouldn't be a pet. So you would have to treat it as a roommate.
Exactly. He's a companion, And we haven't discussed, what does their poo look like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because clearly they eat, one thing that the book said, you could feed them anything. You didn't have to feed them filet mignon. You could just cut a piece of tire off and just give it to them. And they'll just munch it down. You remember the one in the lab, he ate an apple. Yeah. And then he takes the glass test tube. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So they eat anything. They're like roaches in that way. So their fecal matter has to be minimum toxic.
Wow.
Right?
You would have to have a litter box, I guess, with a little thing walking into it that they could just go to the bathroom in.
With just the